Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's program. My name is Warren Stokes. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Ophidian Technologies, the developers of Profit CRM for Outlook. We've labeled this today a training program, but as I was thinking about this, I think I might rename it in the future as learning program. The idea is that you probably want to learn things more than you want to be trained, but it's just a way of looking at it. But the other concept is that CRM is not just a piece of software your company invests in. It's actually, I call it a journey. So CRM is a journey, and I'm here to help you travel down that journey and make Profit a big success for your company. And it's going to be a very practical set of topics today. We're going to focus in on the contact and account management aspect of Profit. We'll be looking at sales pipeline management, how to more effectively manage all the deals you're working on, the business you're trying to get. One of the key concepts of that is setting and using the automated follow-up feature, the sales automation. We'll be giving you some practical training on the reporting and analytics. We'll also cover some of the new things that are just out this year, the enhancement of pretty significant enhancement of how the tracking of emails and appointments and tasks all work, so that you can share the communications among your team. It expands from, as you may be aware, that a lot of this has been available at the opportunity level in the past, but we've expanded it to include the ability to track emails, appointments, tasks, and of course all the rest of it, notes and documents and so forth, but at the contact and company levels, in addition to the opportunity levels. There's also some new multi-departmental function that comes with our enterprise edition. Some of you are probably already using that, but if you're not, it's something we can help you explore if you're interested in. The ability to create records for any department. A quick example of that, which I'll show you here in a moment, is maybe you normally work in sales, but there might be a support record that you want to create, like a customer case or a support ticket or something like that. You can create unique templates, and other people with different roles in the company can interact with your customers and prospects along with you. You can also now launch automated workflow actions, which is a type of automation for any departmental record. It does require permissions to be set and a little bit of setup there, but it's all part of the, again, the enterprise system that we now offer. The contact management is where we're going to start. We'll get into just some basics of, having good data to start with, because in effect, that kind of contact data is at the core of almost all the CRM data, whether it's just accounts, contacts, opportunities, or other functions you're tracking. And the more you get your data cleaned up, the better it is, so that you can have some very useful contact data. And all of the attributes of contacts, which I refer to as the taxonomy of contacts. And to think about it, contact data is one of the most valuable assets of your company. I'm often surprised at how many companies don't have good contact data. Oh, by the way, we also now offer a contact and company cleaning, kind of deduplication and cleaning service. So if that's something you're interested in, please contact us after today's webinar. But the main concept is that it centralizes your contact data, so everybody's working from the same Rolodex, so to speak, to use an old term, but the same database of contacts, so that if somebody updates a contacts, it's changed in real time. Everyone will be sharing the same data, and it's really pretty simple, as I'll show you. It all happens within Outlook. So I'm going to just jump right into my Outlook screen here, and let's get started. So Profit CRM is, as you probably know, if you're a Profit user already, the navigation is pretty simple. There's two ways to get to it. The main way is through a set of folders, and one of them is called the Opportunity Manager. These are the default names. One of them is called Contact Manager and Company Manager. However, you can rename folders, and you can also move them around in your folder list. So for example, I have mine in what's called my favorites here. To put any folder in your favorites, you can just navigate to that folder, right click, and say add to favorites. And that's going to move it up to the top of your list, or you can also remove it if it's already there. Once those folders are there, you can move them up and down just by simply dragging them around. I've also renamed my folders and added these little arrows and dashes just as a way of kind of identifying the folders that are very important to me, that I use a lot. They kind of look like an arrow. So to rename a folder, you just right click, rename a folder, and that's where I put in the little dashes and the arrow there. but in your world, you might call this your lead tracker or what have you. Maybe in the company manager, you call it your accounts tracker or something like that. So each of these is just a different view of the data. And again, the main idea here is that this is all happening within Outlook. Here's my inbox. Here's my opportunity manager, my contact company data, as you can see. Let's start by just kind of getting a feel for it, or kind of some concepts for creating useful views. You can move the left-hand bar around if you want. But what I wanted to talk about first is just the ability, how do you sort and filter and create relevant views, which think of them as lists that are filtered and sorted a certain way. I'm in my opportunity manager, but why don't we just jump into the company manager? It's probably where most of you spend a lot of time. If you're in a sales role, you'll be working in the opportunity manager, but all these concepts apply to all the three different folders that you're looking at here. So you'll see that I have all these columns in here. I have the company name, the industry, the type of company, last modified date, and so on. If you want to add or remove columns, you can just right click while you're in that view and just go into this choose columns option. The columns on the left are the columns that all the fields that are available, and the columns on the right are all those in your view. To add a new column to the view, you simply select the item, click the right arrow, and it puts it on the far right in your view. If you want to move it up, which moves it left, you just move it up. And as you can see, we can then change the view to have that new field in there. So you can scroll over if you have a lot of columns, but I wanted to point out that the next thing, so you can add columns. Now, if I wanted to save that setting where I just added a column, I just right click and say save changes to view. But another key concept is just being able to move these columns around. You can do it in the column chooser, but you could also move things around. Like if I wanted to move industry over here, I could just drag and drop it. If I wanted to move the account flag over here, I could just drag and drop it. So you can see how it's just a column that you can drag and drop the columns as well as move them through the column chooser. So one of the things that's very important to be able to kind of get your mind around is the ability to then filter lists by certain criteria. All of these columns have a little filter icon. It's just exactly like you see in Excel. So if I click this filter icon on industry, you can see that it brings up a drop-down list just like you see in Excel of all the different industries. And the idea is that maybe I just want to look at my manufacturing accounts. Now, all of these are also pre-filtered by the fact that they're in the same geographical location, Hollywood, California, zip code 90210, as you can see up here. But let's just now filter it down one more level. So now we're looking at all the accounts in Hollywood, California that are manufacturing industry. That's a type of customer. That's based on a custom field that your company has probably already set up, something like that. If you need more help on that, some additional one-on-one training, we'd be happy to do it. Now, maybe I want to look at, filtering it by some other criteria, like by the users or by, some other criteria, maybe the type of company that they are. And let me just go in and choose, a couple of these. Let's just say I want to look at all my ongoing accounts and opportunity accounts. Now there's going to be 4 filters added. So these companies here are basically meeting the criteria of Hollywood, California, zip code 90210. They're manufacturers and they're an opportunity account or an ongoing account. To clear a filter, very easy. You just click on that filter icon, just like you do in Excel, and clear that filter. So those are some basic concepts which you can apply to contacts, companies, and opportunities. Just the ability to edit a view is what we've done here, but you could also create a brand new view. Like maybe I want to create a new view and with certain criteria. So you go up to the view drop down and you hover over tools and you can see there's some options here. In this case, I could just click create new. What that'll do is bring up the view options. And so I could give this a name. Hollywood accounts, let's just say, with some other criteria. So you're just giving it a name. And I'll say manufacturers. So just like I was doing before, but in this case, I'm just creating a brand new view like that. And you might want to spell it correctly. So then down below, you can usually just leave these things as by default the same, by user assignment, assigned to me or whatever, but these are some options that you can play around with. But what I want to do is go click down to additional filtering. And then I want to put, one of the fields is called the reference industry. It's just a customized field that we use. And you can either use equals or other comparators. I like to use contains usually, just because I don't have to get something exactly correct. It's just that the industry has the term manufacturing in it. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just adding a filter that says the reference industry contains the term manufacturing. I click OK. And now I've got a view that is custom created for that. And the nice thing about this is I can then navigate between these views. So you can see how I can, go into my accounts by geography, or my manufacturing accounts, or my business services accounts, or whatever. And now I can do various things. And one of the common things someone might do in this is, let's just say I have 29 companies in this view. In this case, by the way, there's a little summary down in the lower left showing you how many records are in that view. I could select some of these with my keyboard. Maybe I just want to do some outreach, or I could right click here and select all. It's just going to basically select all the records in that list. And one of the very handy things Profit allows you to do is send a group email, which is really going to just create a personalized Outlook email to everyone on that list. So when you select send group emails, right click, send group emails, the first thing the system will do is create that recipient list. Now, the recipient list can still be edited. You can delete or add recipients to it. You can choose between HTML or text that's the type of email format. But the main thing that you want to do is include a salutation like hello first name, hi first name, dear title last name, that'd be like dear Mr. Smith, that sort of thing. So let's just do hello first name. You can give it an importance by marking it high, by the way, in the Outlook email that the recipient receives. It's going to have a red exclamation point on the email. So it just helps kind of highlight it as an important email. And you simply click create email, and then you're going to create your email. Now, here's some really cool stuff here. If you're on 365, there are templates that are now available in the 365 environment. You can create these templates simply by going down to the bottom and clicking add and copy some content into it. But you can see how by just selecting that template, it inserted my content here. I can also add other content, maybe either from a template, or if you know what quick parts are, that's an Outlook function that works in all versions of Outlook from 2010 and higher. I can then say, I want to select that block of content so I can, I can book an appointment or something on my calendar. You can also, while you're in here, insert your signature, whichever signature you want, give it a subject line. When you click send, everyone on that list gets a personalized email from you to them. It's not a blind copy. It's just an Outlook email, and it's so you sent this same email to 29 people in this case. So that's a pretty awesome feature. And again, we have some training videos on how to do this sort of thing on our website, which I'll cover here in a moment. I'll kind of give you some of the resources towards the end of the program today. But the awesome thing here is that it gives you the ability to very granularly select and create lists that are very specific to what you were trying to accomplish. Might be outreach to a certain type of customers in a certain geographical location, and that sort of thing. Let's move on a little bit to some of the basic functions that everyone should know how to use. One of the most used functions in Profit is the notes area. If you look where I'm at, general notes, opportunity, I'm in this notes area, and there's a box. It says enter notes. I think you could figure out what that means. So you could type in some notes if you want, like we discussed the new project or whatever. You can also flag it with a type of activity. Your company would have already created these for you. Your administrator can add other ones if you so choose, and you can get them to do it. But in this case, let's just say that was from a phone call. So I just click add note and track. And the cool thing is there's a time and date stamp, who put the note in, because Profit is a shared team environment. It's all permission based, but assuming you have are sharing with other members of your team, then the main benefit here is everyone can see what's been going on with this particular account. Speaking of that, you can see if there's any opportunities for that account that exists. That's in the sales function of Profit. If you're on the lowest level, which is called Contact Manager, you won't have an opportunity function, but we're going to cover that in more detail here a little bit later in the program. You can also look at emails that are linked, which means they're shared amongst the team. You can look at all activities, which are basically searching your entire Outlook profile for information, emails, appointments, tasks, and that sort of thing. And then you can open these emails or what have you right from these areas here. Like if I click on an email, click open, it's going to bring up that email. So the email tracking along with appointment and task tracking is a key part of what this whole system will help you do. There's also an area to link files. Now, to add a file, you just click add, and this brings up just Windows File Explorer. Doesn't really matter what kind of platform you're on for storing your documents. We're not trying to create another way, but maybe you want to put a proposal or a PowerPoint or a Word document or something. So you can basically just go in here and say, I want to add this proposal to the list here. You can sort by added date or title. And when I click on it, you can see how it'll bring up. In this case, I'll just bring up the document here. It's a quotation. So again, I'm in company files. You just click add, and then anyone who has access to those where you store your documents will be able to see all those documents here in Profit. And while I'm here in the company manager, I'll show you another aspect of Profit, which is the ability to set sales automation. And you can actually do this at contact level, company level, or opportunity level. But you'll notice that down here, I'm in the sales automation tab. I already have set up some templates. I can select all or select from a certain date range here, or rather a start date, which will launch a series of automated actions, and you can sort by date or what have you. But what this will do is it'll create a series of automated actions that can consist of emails, appointments, or tasks that will be generated and created automatically at those future dates. Think of it this way: maybe you're just in an account management mode, and you just want to make sure that you have a reminder to call this account once a month, and maybe you want to set up a meeting 4 times a year, and maybe you just want to have 2 or 3 informational emails that go out. So each of these are then queued up when those emails are ready. First of all, appointments and tasks just pop up in Outlook. When those emails are ready to go, they pop up in a queue that looks like this. And now I can see that I have all of these. There's how many? I have 7 items that are due for processing. I could just click process all. I usually look at them one at a time. You can also open the record associated with it before you process it, just to kind of review the notes or what's been going on. But in this case, let's just say I want to send that. I like to display it before I send it. I don't know, just my preference. You don't have to, but that allows me to even edit the email before it goes out. Notice it says, "Hi, Bradley." That's because in the template, I set the salutation to be hi, first name. Click send. I could still edit it, but I'll just send it. Now that email has been sent to that customer, which, by the way, you can see here in your email tracking mode as well. So automation then is a way to set up not just one follow-up, but a series of follow-ups. And if you think about it, if you're in a sales role or even account management, one of the main things is follow-up. So this just definitely helps ensure that all your accounts have good follow-up. There's some similar functionality in the opportunity section that we'll get to. So again, what we're doing is we're just creating relevant lists so that we can market to different or do outreach to different types of customers or different customers in different locations or prospects even, because not all of them have to be customers. They could be prospects. And that's the idea behind the company manager. And again, all those same things apply to contact manager, which is the other folder here I'm in now. Maybe some of you on this call are maybe you sell on a B2C, business to consumer. Then these could be clients in here, or they could be prospects, either way. But the main concept of contact manager, it's a centralized database of contacts, and you can do various things. All of the things that I just shared with you. You can enter notes regarding interactions with a contact. You can track emails, appointments, tasks, and all the different activities that have to do with any of the contacts in your database. The nice thing about the contact manager is that there's custom fields. Actually, there are custom fields in the company too. I forgot to mention that, but throughout Profit, you're going to see that there's fields that your company can customize. In the case of contact, there's 20 additional fields. Now, think of it this way, that an Outlook contact, which is actually what all of these are. So if I were to open up a contact, that's a funny one. I just randomly got to. I think that was from a movie that I like. But anyway, Profit just uses the Outlook contact form, and there's a lot of information there. But Profit CRM adds 20 additional fields. Type of contact. Are they a current client, a prospect, a partner. And these are all defined by your company as to what these are, so it's relevant to your business. Are they a qualified lead? Yes or no? Maybe their LinkedIn profile might be a nice field to have. Oh, by the way, you can feel free to chat, ask questions through the chat function if you have any as we go. I'll keep an eye on that. Where did the lead come from? Where did this contact come from? There's some integration fields here that we're not going to get into deep today, but we do have integrations with MailChimp right out of the box. And we have an API so that you can integrate this with other systems. But nevertheless, all these fields can be drop-down lists. They can be date fields. They can be text fields, or what we call a memo field, which is an expanded text field. So you can take, a fairly large amount of data, 1,000 characters actually, and put it into that memo field. If you want to make changes to this, be sure to click apply before you move on. And that way you can then start sorting and filtering by not just the contact, name, address, city, state, zip, and so forth, but you can start filtering by these different fields like type of contact. So maybe you want to look at all your partners that are in the database. So again, the same sort of Excel filter. I want to filter it by all of my partners. And there we go. So now it's just created a very filtered list. I can do outreach. I can just start making calls. When I make calls, I can put in notes like left a voicemail, I send a quote. Again, that add note and track, time and date stamps it, puts the user's name that put it in there. Maybe I want to do the group email function to all my partners in that certain area or something like that. You can clear the filter easily, so you can do kind of stuff on the fly. You can set sales automation at the contact level, similar to what I just showed you. You can have a series of actions, emails, reminders, appointment requests that can be set up at the contact level. So you can do either or both in Profit, and that allows you to automate the follow-up that you might need. Excellent. So the contact data, by the way, is synchronized across all your Profit users in real time across all your devices, whether you have to have Profit on your different computers, but your laptop, your desktop, your home computers, the mobile apps, all synced automatically. Everyone's always working from the same database. And that's a very big benefit. One thing I wanted to show you is kind of how to find things in a view like this. So I'm in one of my lists here, Hollywood contacts, and maybe I don't see that person just by scrolling down. Maybe I just want to look up Dustin Hoffman, right? So I can just type in Dustin, and you can see it, and this will actually bypass whatever filters you have. It'll find that contact through the advanced search there. So the thing I'm pointing to is you can search the view, or you can use advanced search, which will bypass the filters in the list. Very handy just to find different people. For example, I'll type in one more, which is, I'll put in Anthony Hopkins. You can probably tell my age group by some of my demo characters here. And just another search in this case. Let's change that to an advanced search, by the way, just for the sake of argument. And so you can search it either just the view or here. And here we have, I found Anthony in my database by using the search function. The main point of that is you can bypass whatever filters you have in your view by going to the advanced search, or you can just search the view if it's a list that it loads. One of the new things in Profit, by the way, is you can create lists of virtually any size, and this helps the load time. Let me explain. The Profit is unique compared to most other systems, CRMs and other things like Google search retrieves you 25 results on a page, right? Then you page through. Well, with Profit, you can define how many contacts or records of any sort that you want to view at any given time. You can do 100, 200, 500, 1,000, or just click all. And that's going to bypass whatever filters. So it's going to, in other words, it's not going to page by however many you selected if you select all. So let's just say I had a contact list here and I have it set at 100. So that brought up 100, but there could be more. So I can change it to 500 or what have you. And you can see how you can select the number of records so that's 500, all of them. If you want, I'll just go to all. So the whole point here is then with this list, I can sort the entire list. I can scroll through it. I can export it. I can send a group email to everyone on that list and that sort of thing. So let's talk a little bit about exporting data. First of all, it's permission based, but if you have the permission to export data to Excel, any list you're in, you can just select some or all of the contacts on that list. Doesn't really matter. You can use your keyboard to select them, or just hit select all, click the Excel button, and all of those will be exported to an Excel file. And of course, all the many things you can do with Excel are all still there, and we just make it very easy to get your data into an Excel file output. So let me get into another topic here. Yeah, so we're going to start talking about the sales pipeline aspect of profit, and that has to do with creating opportunities. So let's go back into my view here, and we'll just start as though we just opened Outlook, and I'll just show you how the function for tracking opportunities works. First of all, opportunities are a customizable form, and you're going to be able to track all your opportunities right inside of Outlook. So we'll just open Outlook. We'll go into the opportunity manager here. We'll talk a little bit about that. So opportunity manager is the folder where you keep all your opportunities of different statuses and types and so forth. So once you've created your opportunities, you're going to be able to navigate between different views. I'll show you how to create these that are unique to kind of sales pipeline management. But here's one. It's called My Hollywood Projects. And let's just say I wanted to look at this list. There's 52 opportunities. You can see a little summary down here. I've selected the all function for how many opportunities I wanted to show. And let's just say I wanted to see only those that have reached a certain stage in my sales cycle. So you can see that maybe I just want to see everybody that's in stage 5 or 6. So out of 52 opportunities, 15 of them are in that stage. Now I can also sort by the column. So I can just click the columns, maybe sort by revenue. So it's a descending sort, and this is by deal size then. And maybe I just want to look at all my top 5 or 10 opportunities. Again, I'm just selecting them here. So if you look here down at the bottom, there's a summary that shows I've selected 10 opportunities, and the total value of that, I'm at the bottom center of my page here. Without even running a report, I see my top 10 opportunities are worth a little over $2.5 million. Excellent. I like that. You can export that to Excel if you want. You can do outreach to that list that you've just created by filtering it by proposal. Maybe you just want to send a group email, same content, but unique email to everyone that says, hey, I'm just following up on the proposal. Would you like to set up a call, or that sort of thing? So this is based on the idea of capturing your opportunity data. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like. An opportunity is a record that's easily created, and I'll show you a few ways to do it. But once you've created it, it'll have usually one or more contacts associated with it. These are just contacts from your database linked to your record. This will also show you the company if there is one associated with it. Click on the company name, it brings up the company record and all the details of that we covered earlier. But the main idea here is that you've got some kind of a description. This is just up to you as to how you want to describe the opportunity. Key concept or status, active, won, lost, that sort of thing. You can have different statuses, as many as you want, really. What stage you're in. Now, this is a very, very important thing in the sales pipeline management. And your company, if you're using the sales CRM version of Profit, will have already created your sales stages for you. In our case, we get a lead, we qualify, we evaluate, we do a demonstration, get a proposal out there, negotiate, awaiting funds. So it shows you where you're at in each of these opportunities. Another key field is the probability. This is by default called probability. Your company may or may not have changed the meaning of this, but think of it as just the ability to kind of forecast what the likelihood of getting this particular opportunity is. You can put in an estimated close date, which you can update from time to time. You can put in a revenue amount. Maybe this is worth $46,000. You have different revenue fields. Your company has already created them, but generally speaking, like we have one called total contract value revenue. Yours might be estimated annual revenue, monthly revenue, project, whatever. These are up to your company, and they've already defined those for you. But a very important field here is called the next step. Let's say the next step is to schedule a meeting with Mr. and Mr. Black and Ms. Hayden there. And you can set a due date for that. And it'll ask you if you want to create an Outlook reminder. I would suggest you do that. What that does is create a reminder to do that next step. And it shows up, by the way, right in your Outlook task list. I'm just going to bounce over to that to show you. Over here on the right, you'll see that task I just created is now going to remind me tomorrow to call them and set up that meeting. Pretty cool. All right, so I just wanted to show you the kind of that Outlook integration point there. So the opportunity function then is also something that will help you keep track of the notes and activities regarding that opportunity. So these notes are specific to this deal you're working on. You left a voicemail, you sent a quote, you can put text in here if you want. These are your activities that your company has set up. And that way everybody can see if who's ever looking at this, or just yourself, where you're at in this deal, what the probability it is, when you think it might close, the amount of revenue it's worth, and so on. There are other tabs and fields. Specifically, these three on the right are customizable. Your company will have customized some or all of these fields. So I can do a filter and see all the deals that came from a web lead, what type of sale it is. Is it an ongoing extension sale or expansion sale? These are just our sales classifications. Is it an upsell, a new sale, or whatever? Where did the lead come from? What search engine was it from? What industry is this prospect in? And things like that. And maybe you want to keep track of who the decision maker, decision influencers, and so forth are. So these three tabs are your customizable opportunity fields that you can then use to sort and filter your sales pipeline data. I've often thought, and by the way, I've managed teams of up to 150 people in terms of sales, but the main responsibility of a salesperson who's out to get new business or new business development is really to effectively manage their sales pipeline. When you start managing your sales pipeline effectively, you'll get more business. And I'll just give you 2 or 3 examples of what that means. Well, one of them is you want to look at your pipeline, by the side your bread is buttered on, maybe the largest deals you want to make sure you're keeping track of. You want to make sure the data is correct. The estimated close date is relevant. You always want to have a next step for those and a next step date. I'm telling you, if you just did that, you're going to be miles ahead of the game, and you're going to close more business. Maybe you want to keep track of where new business is coming from, what type of lead it is it referrals, website, partners, or what have you. And that way you can keep track of your pipeline in terms of what is working. Where are you getting business from? All the columns on this view are things that you can move around, like I showed you earlier. Like maybe you want to look at all the deals that have a probability of over 40%, right? So this is now your hot list, kind of, so to speak. So out of that, I can just filter it down. And so I have 31 deals that have reached, stage 4 or higher. So that's a good example. You can do group email blasts from here. So it's basically about managing your sales pipeline. I will share one thing with you, and that is I really think that it only takes 4 pieces of data to manage a sales pipeline effectively. And I'll show you why I say that. What stage are they in? So if they've been quoted or not, or you're still qualifying them, that sort of thing. The probability, which will give you the ability to start forecasting, the estimated close date, and the revenue. From a sales pipeline standpoint, that's enough data to start managing your sales pipeline effectively. Setting the next step, always a good idea. That's icing on the cake, but if you do that, so it's not like 100 things you have to remember, a handful of things. Speaking of that next step, you can also do a whole series of actions at the opportunity level, much like we did at the account level or the contact level. We call it workflow automation in an opportunity. Here's how it works. You can be in whatever stage you're in. You have to set this up, of course, but you can launch a series of actions, including emails, reminders, and appointments, just by clicking that button right there. And notice it says, "Hello, Jack. Thanks for your interest in profit." We've got the company name inserted into the subject line, all automatically. I could still edit that, but I can send it. But notice what happened. This is really cool. I have now got a series of 4 more touches scheduled, each a week apart, but that timing and the type of communication it is completely up to you. I'm going to show you briefly how we got to that, how we set that up. So here in the Profit Tools, which you can reach either in the settings or just click right on that tool icon, and you'll see that along the top there's a row of tabs. What we want to do is we want to go into the sales automation tab. And what we're going to do is I'll just show you by editing one of my templates, and that'll give you the idea of what they look like and how they're created. So let's just do that introductory email that I was just showing you. I'm just going to click edit on that, and I'll show you what it looks like. So here's that email that you just saw me send through the sales automation. It says hello, parentheses, first name. That's right. That right there is what tells Profit that it's going to insert that contact's first name. In an opportunity by the way, that's the one that's, if there's more than one contact, it's one set as the primary contact. Company name right there. I inserted the first name down here again. I could put in images or links or, my link to my calendar, that sort of thing. But once you've created that template, you just say save, and away you go. There's one other step for sales automation that you want to do, and that is you want to tell it how you want it to behave. So for example, I've got my whole list of workflow down here, and you can see my titles, or by stage. You can sort it different ways just to kind of look at what's going on. But all of these will then have a setting that is either 0 days delay or 7 or 14 or 21, like a three-week drip is 21 days follow, 21 days delay. So you can set it up to have a whole series of those. And again, just a reminder, every stage can have a different series of automated follow-up, including, by the way, you can use this for post-sale. So you can have different post-sale follow-ups, satisfaction survey or this or that, whatever you want. Maybe you want to do some outreach to get some referrals. I find that I get a little over 20% of our business from referrals. So you can encourage people to provide referrals if you want, using the post-sale stage. So that's some of the things that you're going to be doing to help you with your sales automation. Let's wrap up. I try to keep these programs to about 45 minutes. So let's wrap up by going through and talking about some reporting capability. Well, an obvious one is just, you can create a list, you can filter it down. Like we showed you earlier, you can export that to Excel. Just click the Excel button, export all rows or selected rows. And that's one way to create a report. And then of course, all the fancy stuff you can do in Excel is available to you, pivot tables, charts, graphs. People like Excel, so we make it easy to get the data into Excel. That's a type of report you can run in any of the different lists or views here. But there's also a function here that everyone will have on your team. If you're a Profit user, it's called Report Manager. So I can go in here and I can say, I want to do maybe a pipeline report, going to go into a sales meeting, and I want to put all of my deals that I'm working on into a quick report. So this will generate a report that will show you what's in your pipeline. And in this case, it's organized by stage. So we'll just let that report run. But what that's doing is it's looking at my database, and it's showing me all the deals in my funnel that are different stages, how many there are, what date I expect them to close. And this could be multiple reps like you see here, the amount of revenue. And it's basically the kind of report that you might want to have for a sales meeting. You can save it in different file types, email it, print it, what have you. There's other types of reports. One of the types of reports is, well, there's actually about 30 different types of reports, but one of them might be like doing an activity report. So if you think of it, what you want to do is maybe run a report on either accounts or opportunities by the date of the entries. Perhaps might be the date range you want to do. You could filter it by other criteria, like what type of activity you want to filter it on. But just to keep it simple, we'll just show you what that report looks like. So in this case, you can see it as more of a document style report. Call to discuss next steps, my notes, the type of activity it was, and that sort of thing. And that's going to be something, again, you can have available for just maybe if you want a report of your own activity, or if you're a manager, maybe you want to run a report like that, just to have good sales call reporting. So you can also build new reports using this wizard. Won't get deep into it, but you choose the type of report you're gonna build. You are essentially going to well, if you're in a multi-department situation, you're going to select the department. That's with our enterprise. You give the report a name, and then you choose the columns you want in it. And from there, you can format it, add logos, colors, and stuff like that. So play around with that. You can't really break anything. I encourage you to use that reports tool, which is again found through this button up here called reports. Brings up Report Manager and all the different reports you've created. Pretty awesome. And then there's a third type of report, which we'll wrap up with, and that is the analytics dashboard. So in Profit, there's actually different ways to deploy this, but analytics is a type of visual reporting that shows you graphs and charts, and you can have slicers and dicers. They actually call them that nowadays, slicer and dicers. They're ways to sort and filter the data. but you can run this in, right, there's a simple button right in Outlook in the profit screen that says analytics. You click on that, or what I use is the desktop version. So it's all on the Microsoft Power BI platform. Power BI is Microsoft's answer to the data visualization. And I'm going to just see if I got any questions. Yeah, I'll answer that question, Heidi, for you in just a second. So stand by on that. But these 3 dashboards come with Profit out of the box. You do have to turn them on. Your administrator has to enable them, because it does kind of give you advanced look at all the data. So there's 3 types of dashboards that come with Profit out of the box. A pipeline showing you things like how many opportunities you've won, how many you've lost, conversion rates, opportunities by user, your funnel, and you can sort and filter by any of the criteria on the left. The next one over is your activity analysis. Just basically shows you types of activity by user, by type, over time, giving you a good profile of, your basic activities that you're looking at. And finally, the third one is the ability to look at how many contacts were created, which is a KPI for a lot of companies. How many opportunities were created, how many companies were created, and where are they geographically located here. So you can see a lot of data about your data creation. And this will be recorded, so that in a follow-up email, you'll automatically get a link to the recording of this webinar. And there was a question I had. The question is, are you able to just get the last note added to a report? Well, you can certainly sort it by, if we're just out of the box, you can sort it by date. So you could obviously look at it that way. If you wanted a very specific type of custom report, we can also build those. Or you might have people there that can build them yourselves. But yeah, reach out to me after the webinar, and we can explore that a little more further. So that looks like we've reached our right up to our closing time here. So why don't we just wrap by, I'm going to just share my contact information here with you. And hopefully if you have any questions, you're happy to just reach out to me anytime. And here's my contact information. Most of you know me. And also, if you work with one of our other account managers, feel free to reach out to them. But hey, I'm delighted to have you all join the training today, and hopefully we'll keep the journey going. Take care and have a wonderful day.